So we are at C11, public comment on non-agenda items. This is the opportunity for the public to address the board on issues that are not on the agenda. As a reminder, the board cannot comment back to you about your comment. And if you have an issue that is related to an HR matter or personnel matter, this is not the correct forum for that and interferes with the proper process. And if you have an issue like that, then I ask you to direct them to Assistant Superintendent Spector here, who's raising her hand. And with that, I understand that we have several speaker cards on the same subject, but that Jennifer Butler is going to speak for everybody, provided she gets extra time. Is that their ideal?
That's correct.
And we agreed to 6 minutes, is that right?
I think I could do it in 6.
Okay.
I'll do my best. Okay.
Come on. And then after that will be Frank Reardon.
Jennifer, just turn the mic on, and it'll take just a couple seconds.
Great. I'm nervous. Good evening, board members and superintendent, and happy New Year. My name is Jennifer Butler, and I'm here tonight representing my company, Endure Environmental Services. IES is a full-service, turnkey, mechanical, energy services and controls company. We're celebrating 30 years in business, 16 of those right here in Santa Rosa. With me tonight are some but not all of IES's 26 employees that are residents of Santa Rosa, your constituents. and some but not all of the 71 IES employees that live in Sonoma County. Not everyone could be here tonight, but if you and your families would please rise or raise your hands so that they can see the representation. So there's just some of us. IES is a respondent to a request for qualification issued by SRCSD for performance of your district's remaining Prop 39 energy conservation work. My son is handing out copies of your RFQ, IES's response to the RFQ, and the scoring matrix used by SRCSD to determine who was awarded. IES was not selected for the RFQ process. Instead, a competitor, Sizerco, was. Sizerco is a controls company, not a comprehensive energy services company. And the RFQ specifically calls for controls, mechanical, and energy Prop 39 work. My intention tonight is to contest this award and very humbly ask for the board's intervention. We believe that both the applied scoring matrix and the award decision was done erroneously and should be reversed by the board. IES is the most qualified candidate based on experience with mechanical systems, control systems, and energy services, including solar and lighting. We have completed more than 240 school districts. We are on-bill financing certified and investor confidence project certified with PG&E for those rebates. We have more professional engineers, certified energy managers, certified demand side managers, and certified engineering or energy professionals than Sizerco. We have more experience working with energy expenditure plans, Prop 39, CEC, DSA, and we are NAESCO certified, which Sizerco is not. Comparatively, it is probable that our bonding rates, credit limit, safety record, and bonding capacity are superior as well. IES has a well-established energy management program that provides student internships and scholarships. On these qualifications alone, IES should have been the most qualified and chosen respondent. However, what's most important is that because IES is self-performing, our cost to implement this scope of work is typically less than a company like Sizerco, who would have to subcontract out significant portions of the work, adding an additional layer of overhead and profit to their pricing and cost structure. The value to the district could be significant should IES be selected. Unfortunately, but additionally, there have been several red flags which would indicate that the decision wasn't reached with integrity. Points awarded in the scoring matrix do not follow SRCSD's own criteria for qualification. Also, Sizerco was given access to information used in the scoring matrix that other respondents like ourselves were not given. No site walks, no interviews were done, which are standard practice in the RFQ process, ensuring that all respondents have the same opportunities. Even more alarming is that under the Public Records Act, SRCSD's maintenance department was asked to provide a copy of the scoring matrix and the winning respondent's RFQ. By law, they have 10 days to respond. The scoring matrix was received 2 days ago, which was 22 days later. Furthermore, the RFQ for the winning respondent, Sizerco, has never been received by IES. Unfortunately, it appears that maybe the scoring matrix was developed after the award was given. I've included the scoring matrix analysis to show how IES was underscored. This matrix is in your package, along with the criteria that we are challenging, and I won't take up time to go for that. Let's leave it for your review. So once you look at that, you can see the two items that we're challenging. We again humbly ask the board to intervene in this decision and ask that Sizerco be disqualified and IES selected. Or if the board so chooses, then both applicants can be selected and we can bid against each other, which would foster healthy competition, ensuring that Santa Rosa City School Districts receives the best cost and the best value. Lastly, the board could consider giving Siserco the controls portion of the work and IES the mechanical, lighting, and solar. We are also extremely experienced in helping districts leverage their funding to generate more money beyond what Prop 39 would provide. So with the above three options, there is lots of opportunity for a fair result. We are asking the board to drive a fair result. We thank you for both your service and your consideration, and thank you for listening tonight. I would like to leave here with some clear direction from the board, but I understand that there's no commentary that can be given. So perhaps a meeting with Superintendent Kitamura, who we have not had the pleasure of meeting with yet, or a board committee. But when you have an opportunity, my contact information is in our responding RFQ, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you again. With respect.
Thank you. Next is Frank Reardon, and after that, Keith Diaz.
Hello, thanks for welcoming us tonight. My name is Frank Reardon. I'm a business agent for Local 38 Farmers Union. We have an apprenticeship school here in town, right down on Santa Rosa Avenue. We train locally. Our workers are local, and I'm hoping that this Prop 39 project, as it continues, is done. What I can't speak on behalf of is prevailing wage. I'm involved in a project in Runner Park, and the school board chose to look the other way when there's large portions of a very large project in Runner Park that are being done, and the prevailing wage is not being paid. The unions, union crafts, the building trades in this county, of which I'm one, are the prevailing wage. We actually established the prevailing wage. So as you decide who's going to be the prime or the general, and then the subcontractors below that, I would hope that you are vigilant in policing the wages that are being paid. There's a lot of things that can be done by an unscrupulous general or prime contractor that can undermine the legitimate wage. Misassigning work from one lesser paid craft to a higher paid craft is one way to do it. And in some cases, it can be a runaway, as I've been referring to in Runner Park, which I'm dealing with. So I would hope that I would love to be a part of that effort. And certainly, if one of the contractors that are chosen, one of which is Indoor Environmental, is one of our contractors, they do employ from my union. They do use the apprentices that are trained here locally and live here locally. As a business agent for Local 38, I insist on and will help enforce the highest quality of work. And I do plan to be involved in this and trying to promote our building trades, labor unions, as well as our local training. And the people that are working on the shop hopefully will also be locally, living locally as well. So thanks very much.
Diaz, and then Dale Andrew.
Good evening, board members. I'm Keith Diaz. I'm with the Sheet Metal Workers Local 104. I'm here to talk about a couple things, mostly about the opportunity for your students. I used to run an apprenticeship program, and I'm a trustee for our apprenticeship program. We actually have some of the apprentices here in this meeting tonight. I'm offering to volunteer to come talk to your schools, your high schools especially, about the opportunities in the building trades, especially the sheet metal industry. I know I can speak for Frank with the plumbers, the electricians, strength fitters, and the other building trades. I see some of you at the CSBA every year, and sometimes you stop by our booth when we have it there. We're trying to get out and promote apprenticeship. With that said, the work that's being done in your school, we want to be able to promote apprenticeship and have your students go through our apprenticeship programs and work on your schools. It's a great opportunity. We pay a living wage, an area standard wage. I could talk all night, my 3 minutes will be up before I get about a tenth through my little spiel. But it's a free education. And these folks that come through the program and become journeymen, and we have journeymen sitting in the room as well, have an opportunity with a zero college debt to make a six-figure income with benefits for the rest of their lives. And we're not offering jobs here, we're offering careers. Okay? So, with that said, I mean, we have folks from IES. IES does the right thing, hires apprentices, trains them, and pays them a local area standard wage. And they train their apprentices to become journey people. So I'm going to throw that out there again. We just want to make sure the work done on the school is done, paying the right wages, hiring apprentices that are state indentured apprentices. And I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Dale Andrew, and then Michelle Morales.
All right, I'm Dale Andrew. I would just like to put a face to that union labor and a face to an IS employee. I moved here in 1969 and went to San Jose City Schools, started in first grade in 1969 here. Spent my whole time living here. I graduated, raised a family here, joined the union, was trained. I'm a third generation sheet metal worker, and I have 3 boys that went through San Jose City Schools. So I'm a product of your schools. They're a product of your schools. 2 of my boys now work for IES and are going through the apprenticeship program and learning highly skilled labor and abilities and making good money and thereby able to stay living in this area, which we know can be difficult, expensive place to live. So my boys then are 4th generation sheet metal workers, and they live in Santa Rosa, and the ability to have work right here in Santa Rosa is a big deal. A lot of times we have to commute to cities that are a ways away, an hour, 2 hours to try to get work. So knowing that there's work right here in our hometown that we have an opportunity to secure, we definitely want to have an opportunity to do that and employ members of our own community that have taken part in San Jose City Schools. And my son's here with his little girl. She's only 6 months old, but I'm sure she'll be going to San Jose City Schools too. Appreciate your consideration in trying to keep the work local, and I'd appreciate being a part of this community. Thank you.
Mr. Reardon, Mr. Diaz, please see Dr. Guzman right there, and Debbie Mattini, Cardoza, because of the internship. No. I'm your class. I'm just kidding.
When anyone comes offering jobs to our students,
We want
do
a connection with apprenticeships. We want them desperately, so please give us your contact information.
Michelle Morales.
Both of my sons are sheet metal workers also in 104, so. Happy New Year. The reason I'm here tonight is to express my concern about the district going to all online registration, starting as soon as next Tuesday for TK and kindergarten. We just found out, and we being the family engagement facilitators, found out about this in the middle of December. We've not been trained on how to do it, and the district has not even provided a step-by-step written instruction for parents for the online registrations. So we're not sure what to tell parents when they come in next Tuesday, how they are supposed to go about this. Most of our parents do not have computers, email addresses, internet, or even know how to use computers, all needed for this online registration. This morning, a parent came to Fiala to pick up a kindergarten registration packet. I took her information and told her to return on Tuesday. The parent also doesn't have resources to register online, and we're going to have many more parents coming next week with the same issues. Sometimes these types of decisions are made by district personnel that are not familiar with the entire school community. This makes things difficult for many of the families in our elementary schools. For all these years, the parents could just come in or have someone pick up a packet, complete it at home, bring in the documents that they needed. We would check for the information, the secretary would enter the information into the computer. Once parents find out that it's online registration, some parents might not even consider registering their TK or kindergartners and causing the district to lose ADA. So I urge the district to rethink this or at least postpone it, since we just found out about it last month, and continue to offer online registration for those who are able to do so, but continue to offer hard copy registration for the families that choose it. You need to ensure there are option and access for all families to make the process of registration as easy as possible for everyone. That's the equitable thing to do. Thank you.
Those are the blue cards we have on non-agenda items. So we'll report, starting with D1 CSEA report. Is President Alfonso here? Okay, we'll see you at M6. D2, San Jose Teachers Association, President Ryan.
Good evening, President Close, Superintendent Kimura, and members of the board, and members of the community. I want to give you a heads up, if you haven't seen it already on Facebook, where all the stuff is happening, where the world exists. Santa Rosa Teachers Association is supporting an action for hashtag Red for Ed. You may know that UTLA and United Teachers of Los Angeles and Oakland Education Associations are on the verge of a strike. And CTA's overall position is it's because Sacramento hasn't ponied up enough money. And we've had a lot of conversations in here about there's only so much pie, and the real pressure point is that we need more money from Sacramento. So with that, with those intentions, SRTA is supporting that, and we're going to be wearing red tomorrow. I just want to make it real clear that everybody knows we're not aiming it at you, that we're aiming it at Sacramento. We're going to be wearing red tomorrow, and we're going to be walking in. So what that looks like is we show up 45 minutes before the kids come, and we'll have our signs and our shirts and all that and that business. And then at 15 minutes before the kids, we'll walk in together as a show of unity. We'd like to invite everybody who would like to support full funding for education to join us. We've asked all of our schools to consider doing it. The 3 schools that I know are doing it are Santa Rosa High, Montgomery High, and Lincoln. So if anybody would like to stand shoulder to shoulder with us as we ask the state to pony up for education, we invite anybody to come and join us. Thank you.
D3, the Labor Management Collaborative. Let's see. Good evening, President Close, Superintendent Kittimer, and other members of the board, and members of the public who might not know. Labor Management Collaborative is an opportunity for management of the district and the 2 labor organizations, CSEA and SRTA, to work together to identify problems, identify issues and concerns that have a mutual interest for all of us, and to problem solve in proactive ways and to collaborate to come to solutions around them. And so we have done some training together. This has been ongoing for several years. We're trying to make it even more robust so that it is a regular part of our practice that we come together to problem solve. To that end, we were able to meet yesterday with our CSEA members and with management, specifically using what we talked about with you before, the CBAM, or the concerns-based adoption model, specifically around the area of interest or concern that all members identified as a priority, and that's the safety of our students and our staff in all of our schools and programs across the district. And so tonight I wanted to invite, and they're already here, so thank you very much, Aida Diaz, our principal at Biela Elementary, and Jason Andrews, who is one of our rock stars in instructional technology to share their perspective about what the work is like.
Good evening. I have just joined the committee, although I did attend training with the group in prior times. I shared wanted to share with you what I shared with the committee yesterday, which is I found that although sometimes meetings can't be that productive, I found that the collaborative process that we used was productive, and that I had witnessed that process being used within other departments in the district to solve issues together, that both labor and management having perspectives and collaborating together to solve issues.
So, welcome to the new board members. Congratulations. So I've been with the LMC for 2 years now. I think I did half. But it's been a journey, and I think that yesterday's meeting was an excellent way of kind of culminating. I didn't know what the CVM model was, and so we were trained in it, and we went through the process, and it was especially useful for me because we went through the process of using my safety plan for my school to really look deep into it and analyze it and have all these different brains, just going through it and critically looking at it and seeing where things needed to be tweaked or fixed. And it was eye-opening for me because you get the different perspectives from the CSEA and the other people in the room that were there yesterday. So I really thank the group for their time. And it just felt like we were getting to a point where we actually have an action item and we're actually acting on it. So thank you everyone who was there and for the opportunity to be involved in that.
Thank you for the report for this evening, and we'll continue to bring everyone who's a part of the collaborative to the table. Thank you. Appreciate your work. Superintendent.
You know, the mics are all live, and so I had to push far away in case I sneeze or something. I'll bring it forward. Just a couple of things. The first thing is that I think I kind of like Governor Newsom. He has come on strong just in this first couple of days here with some great news around fiscal situation, state budget. We're going to be doing a formal report on the 23rd to really break it down and what it looks like for the district. But, initially right off the bat, his proposal or his ideas around Prop 98, it feels like they were listening around the full and fair funding to some degree. And it looks like that for 2018, or the increase that could be had, depending on, we've got to do a few more calculations, but anytime you're talking about an increase in per pupil funding, upwards of $400, that's good news for Santa Rosa City Schools. So that's wonderful. And then he's also put money towards reducing the employer liability for the pension. So that then is less money we have to spend for that and can be placed more into our general fund for the things that we need to do for entire population, school population. So, right off the bat, just some really, really good news. Some other things that I won't go into. So just look forward to that and how well that's going to play out, with our structural deficit and the work that the entire district's been doing to reduce that structural deficit, and being able to maybe have a little more flexibility in what we do in the future in terms of all the things that we have to do. I think it's good. It's good. So more to come. And then the second thing and last thing I wanted to do is I wanted Alana to share some good news in my time. And so Alana, would you share some great news that you have for everyone?
Yes. I found out a couple weeks ago that I got into Dartmouth College early. So Director Mackin, are you going to accept that offer? Are you still waiting and playing a little bit of strategic? No, I applied early. Okay, that's the school you want. Good, congratulations.
Congratulations, Director Mackin. I don't have much to report tonight, but I will say that I appreciate the efforts, particularly LA Unified teachers, because the focus is on the legislature, and that's where the focus needs to be, and that's where CSBA and CTA need to collaborate and continue to put the pressure on. And there's no better way to do it than to get 30,000 teachers in the second largest district in the country and the biggest in the state to walk out together. I mean, that is attention getting. I'm glad that you guys are just wearing shirts to support them, and support you wearing those shirts. But, you know, it's time that state listen and take this funding problem seriously. And it does look like Governor Newsom is starting off with a good opening. It's a good opening from Governor Newsom. We'll take it. We'll take more for sure, but we'll take what he's giving so far. So that's good. And since it's Student of the Month awards tonight, no further reports from the board members. And we don't have a CSBA report anymore, so we're going to take that off the agenda, sadly.
No, because I'm still superintendent counsel for CSBA.
You just want more time to talk?
I do.
Yeah, the superintendent. Okay, so we'll go to the consent agenda. We're going to pull E5, but let's take a motion first. I need a motion on E2 through E4 and E6 through E9.
To approve E4 and E9. Second.
Moved by Director Medina, second by Director Sheffield. Roll call vote.
Director Medina,
Aye.
Director Sheffield,
Aye.
Director Anderson, Director Manieri, Director Fong, Director McCormick, President Coase,
Aye.
Student Board Member.
Okay, motion carries, and so we have a blue card on E5, member Carlin Goldberg.
Good evening, President Close and school board members. It's been a long week. Welcome to our new school board members. I haven't officially addressed you yet since I believe I spoke before you guys were seated at the last meeting I was at. Those board members who are not new to the board have heard me talk about our crumbling infrastructure in our schools multiple times. I teach at Steeling Elementary, right down the street. We have 10 portables. I think all of them are older than I am. I'm pretty sure mine is. And each of the last 2 years in the winter, the heating system in my personal portable has failed. The last time, they called the guy to come out and fix it. He spent 2 whole days in the machine. Couldn't have been cheap. Today, you are approving $91,000 in AV equipment and other equipment for a theater for our charter school out of bond funds that are supposed to be fixing our heating and our leaky roofs and our failing classrooms. I don't think that's a good use of our funds. I encourage the board to decline to approve those two contracts for PCD for that equipment, and instead direct the school board, the school district to spend that money fixing our classrooms that have problems now. We've got AC and HVAC systems that are failing all over the school district. They supposedly were going to fix the roofs at some of our high schools over the summer. Apparently they're still leaking. That money can be better spent other places. I appreciate that we want to give our charter school students at the arts the fullest opportunities, but we can fundraise that money somewhere else for that school and fix our HVAC, fix our leaky roofs, deal with our mold problems, deal with our rodent problems. That money can be better spent other places. Thank you.
Thank you. So I need a motion on E5.
Move for the approval of item E5. Approval contract. I'll second.
Moved by Director Sheffield, second by Director Medina. Director Anderson, yeah, we can't have a discussion. Director Anderson, you have a question?
Yeah, so I actually came wondering what the explanation was about using bond funds.
The project for the Black Box Theater was part of the Cinemas Charter School for the Arts Modernization Project. The concept of the Black Box Theater and the associated components to make it that theater were included as part of the plan that were not bid out at that time. Original estimates for the equipment in the Black Box Theater and what's on the board agenda tonight are for risers for seating and sound equipment was originally right around $300,000. We went back and re-engineered the Black Box Theater and got it down to $150,000 for sound equipment, not including risers, I believe. And then we went back again and got what would be essentially the minimum to facilitate use in that classroom environment, including risers and sound equipment. And that's what's presented to the board tonight.
So this is the current bond money, though, not the bond money that was originally designated for the arts charter, because wasn't that a separate bond that sort of did the
It's one of the same.
No, it's one of the same, okay. So for other schools that have theaters that don't have equipment that actually serves the needs of their students, will they also be able to get or request this type of funding for their?
This was to complete the construction of that school site, because that room was left incomplete. We haven't made other determinations for other school sites.
Have we looked at, because I know, sometimes our stagecraft students will build risers for our art departments. Have we explored having our students do any of the work?
I don't know.
And have we talked to the parent organization about what they can contribute to some of the equipment as well? Because my experience on parent associations is it's often fallen up to us to pay for a lot of that type of equipment.
I think because it was a part of the original plan to build, that's why we didn't tap on the shoulder of the parent organizations. I mean, it's something we can definitely explore. No matter what, whether the parents end up paying for it or not at this point, we would like to move forward and possibly reimburse back if we were able to get any additional or other funding. But again, that's the pleasure of the board. Dr. Fong.
So my understanding, right through the public comment, is that it looks like, if we're using bond money for Safe, Warm, and Dry, that this black box doesn't look like it would really fit under Safe, Warm, and Dry. But as I understand what you just said, this is something that was put off, was on another plan. We got it down to a third of the original cost. And so it really isn't like we're going to have this and not have this. So this is something already there. And we're continuing with Safe, Warm, and Dry. Is that correct?
That is correct. This is part of the Charter for the Arts construction project. There's money allocated for HVAC and roofing at school sites. Not every school site can happen at the same time. We have capacity issues within the amount of work that we can accomplish over a given time period. Routine restricted maintenance and M&O are handling as best they can. The break fix type of scenario with both leaking roofs and HVAC units. As we brought in previous board meeting the summer project schedule for next summer for HVAC, and that will continue on through the remainder of our schools at around 4 to 6 per summer, depending on the size of school and quantity of work that has to be accomplished.
Okay, thank you.
So, Dr. Esmond, you said complete, that the construction of that Black Box Theater is currently incomplete. And when you say that, do you mean that like kids aren't using it? Or it's,
Sorry to cut you off. They're not using it with the equipment that was designed to go in there or for facilities used for that room, but they are using it. I have been in that classroom when they have been conducting class in there, but not with any of the equipment. It is up there, Black Box Theater at this point.
and the HVAC, in terms of our facilities master plan and the priorities there, we are continuing to address the roof issues and the HVAC issues site by site, correct?
That is correct, both through the bond measures and through M&O and routine restricted maintenance.
I would, as a reminder, we did pass the bond to make our schools safe, warm, and dry, and that is obviously the first priority. And our bond language is pretty expansive and allows us to do things like this. And this is something that was put off for a long time and planned for a super long time. But the bottom line is, if you look at our facilities master plan, we have 1.2 billion with a B dollars of need, and we got less than $250,000. So these are challenges. Director Medina.
Can you elaborate on the capacity issues you mentioned?
Just the internal capacity to complete projects, as well as capacity of vendors to perform work in our area.
So, just to reiterate, even what our sheet metal gentlemen and women and whoever was out there for our sheet metal, we don't have the capacity to do any more than 4 or 5 schools in a summer. Otherwise, we'd do them all, or at least over 2 summers, but we just, the industry, the workforce isn't there to do that. So it isn't that we're not going to do it, to make these upgrades and these changes, it's just the timing, being able to time it.
Unfortunately, and now our workforce is even more strained. So if there, I don't know if there are any more questions or comments. If not, then I'll call for a roll call vote, please.
Director Sheffield?
Aye.
Director Medina?
Aye.
Director Anderson?
Aye.
Director Manieri?
Aye.
Director Fong?
Aye.
Director McCormick?
Aye.
President Close?
Aye.
And Director Mackin?
Okay, motion carries. Okay. It brings us to our next agenda. So F1 is January as School Board Recognition Month.
Yes. So in honor of January being School Board Recognition Month, which is this is the first time that we're doing this, and so we're very happy to do this, that we asked the city of Santa Rosa, since the board normally passes a resolution in these kinds of commemorative days, we thought we didn't really want the board to approve a resolution that they wrote about themselves. So instead, we asked the city if they would provide a proclamation honoring our school boards, and I'm going to just read this too because I think it's a very, very nice honor. City of Santa Rosa Proclamation. Whereas an excellent public education system is vital to the quality of life for all California citizens and communities, and whereas local school board members are committed to children and believe that all children can be successful learners and that the best education is tailored to the individual needs of the child, and whereas, sorry about that, you can hear that, thank you, Micah. Whereas school board members work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to create the educational vision we want for our students, and whereas school board members are responsible for building and maintaining the structure that provides a solid foundation for our school system, and whereas school board members are strong advocates for public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public's expectation to the school district, and whereas the mission of the public schools is to meet the diverse educational needs of all children and to empower them to become competent, productive contributors to a democratic society in an ever-changing world. Now, therefore, be it resolved that he, Tom Schwalbnow, Mayor of the City of Santa Rosa, acknowledge the members of the Santa Rosa City School Board of Education and urge all citizens to join him in recognizing the dedication and hard work of local board members and encourage working with them to create an education system that meets the needs of our children, and do by declare the month of January 2019 as Santa Rosa City School Board Recognition Month.
Anybody have anything to say? I will say it's actually going to be part of my report, and I forgot about it, to say that, you know, for the 6 years I've been on the board, we have been pushing the city council to go back to having joint meetings with the school board, and got nowhere. And in the first week, he was Mayor Schroedhelm reached out to me to start the planning process for that. So I really appreciate Mayor Schroedhelm for his early engagement in James Monroe Elementary School, Albert Yale Elementary School, and Proctor Terrace Elementary School.
So as the principals work their way up, and I say this at every meeting, and I say it at least for this first year, that it is hugely important that the board have an opportunity to hear from principals about how the policies and practices and budgets that we pass as a board translates to what happens at the school sites. And so each of these fine principals are going to come forward and provide a report about the wonderful things happening at their school sites. And as they get ready here, get the microphones in front of them and cue up their PowerPoint. I'm stretching this as long as I can so you guys can get ready. Someone asked, I think President Close, and someone asked me, and someone made a comment. Go ahead. We're good. Is it always just good news? Is it always like just positive good news in the work that we do? And so what I'm saying to that is, this year, let's give a basis for what we do as schools, and next year, we'll start bringing in the challenges. So this round, let's just talk about what you're working on. Inherently in what you're working on, the inquiry that you're going to be speaking about, there's an issue. Otherwise, we wouldn't have an inquiry. We wouldn't be wondering why we had a cycle of improvement. And so, for me, what that kind of downside of all of these reports is that when will we get to the point where we won't need a cycle of inquiry to improve? Well, never, but I mean for the major things, right? For the major things. So, having said that, who's going first? Okay, and then who's going next? Fiala, and then Proctor Terrace. Okay, that's the order. Take it away.
All right, good evening, President Close, new returning members of the board, and Superintendent Kitamura. I'm Catherine Storl, new principal at James Monroe Elementary School. I'm currently entering my 5th month of captaining the Monroe ship, and I'm honored to represent my staff, my students, and my families here tonight. James Monroe is a K-8 through 6 elementary school in Northwest Santa Rosa. According to our most recent California dashboard data, we had 442 students, 87.3% of whom are socioeconomically disadvantaged, 67.9% of whom are English language learners. We also have an incredible staff who is dedicated to ensuring that all of our students receive high quality instruction and learning opportunities, and a parent population who is committed to our students. So at Monroe, we recognize that power of effective partnerships with parents, and we offer a variety of ways to foster that home-school partnership. We have a family engagement facilitator who helps keep those lines of communication open between the school and home, providing translation support, finding additional community resources for families as needed, providing parents access to staff and staff access to parents to serve the needs of all of our students. We have a site council at our school who is our governing body responsible for creating our SIPSA. We have an ELAC, an English Learner Advisory Committee, to empower parents of our English learners to identify educational needs for students. They also advise on SIPSA development and are instrumental in ensuring that our Title I funds are allocated in meaningful ways. We have a PFO that's involved in fundraising and community building, coffee with the principal meetings that are pretty well attended, to allow an informal discussion for parents to talk about issues and ideas. And finally, parents are some of our most valued volunteers. So I'm sure that you're all aware of our district's LCAP goals to provide a coherent, rigorous, and relevant teaching and learning program to graduate college and career-ready students, and to increase student and family wellness and engagement through the full-service community model. And you may be less familiar with our site's SIPSA goals, which are to increase student literacy in reading and math, and decrease chronic absenteeism and tardiness. And as you can see, our site SIPSA goals are tailored to our specific needs and challenges, while being aligned with our district LCAP goals. You're probably also familiar with Center City Schools' theory of action, and at James Monroe, we are focusing on quite a few of these points this year. All of our successes and efforts are really addressing equity and access for our students, which is C, and we are specifically engaged in developing a sense of shared purpose, which is F, utilizing that cycle of inquiry to determine some targeted challenges to our instruction in order to meet the needs of our students, and that's E, L, and R. And in doing this, we are utilizing some specific data in order to target and align our resources on site, which are T and U. So on to our cycle of inquiry, which is really a way to use data to problem solve. So as with any good cycle of inquiry, It can be hard to know exactly where it started, and I believe that the beginning of our current cycle of inquiry was sparked by our teachers' participation in a district-sponsored ELD training that happened this summer by Tanya Wardsinger, the EL Excellence Every Day. It was focusing on designated and integrated EL strategies. This has been further fueled by our partnership with Innovata. We utilize key data points as indicators to determine our area of focus, including the sheer number of EL students that we have at our site. And according to that most recent California dashboard data, we have 67.9% of our students who are English learners, but the data we had available to us at the time showed 77.7% of our students were English learners. We also looked at our SBAC data over the past 3 years, and you can see that we made significant gains in our math, jumping from 9 to 18%. We also made important improvements in English language arts, moving from 12 up to 18, backslid a little in 2017 to 17%, and that showed us that that was an area that we could still do some really good work. In addition, we looked at the newly adopted district EL master plan and knew that at our site we needed to make some changes to be in compliance. So at Monroe, we have an overarching problem of practice that combines an outcome with a strategic focus. So our problem of practice is that students will increase in English language arts and ELD writing, that's our outcome, through communicating using precise academic language and close and analytic reading, and that is our strategic focus. In order to achieve that, we have developed some shorter-term cycles of inquiry, such as the one you see here, which is if we implement weekly focus plans, will we see an increase in the describe a picture task? And these shorter-term cycles of inquiry are designed to change every 6 to 10 weeks after student writing samples are scored utilizing the LPAC rubrics. And at that time, that task that is in parentheses will change to a different LPAC task, something like write a story or write an informational text. So we're looking at changes in our students' abilities to perform these specific tasks based on our focus plans. So putting our theory of action into action has really required a concerted effort involving almost everyone on site. We call our program WIN, which stands for Walk to What I Need. And as that name indicates, students literally walk to different spaces to receive smaller group instruction at their LPAC levels, 1 through 4, as English onlys or as RFEP students. And they receive 40 minutes of this specialized instruction 5 times a week. We have so many integral players. We have 2 TOSAs on site. We have 6 instructional assistants who are part of this, 20 teachers, many of whom are here with me tonight, and our 400 and something students are a piece of this. One of our ultimate goals, of course, is to increase student literacy. So we're also working closely with our family engagement facilitator to reclassify students as their literacy skills are improved. So what is WIN? It's a holistic program of supports for students and teachers. It was developed on site by our TOSAs. It's involved quite a lot of input from our teachers. And truly, there's so much going on behind the scenes. That's an entire presentation unto itself. So just in a nutshell, our TOSAs are supporting our teachers. They're helping to build that teacher capacity to deliver direct ELD and targeted English language arts instruction. We've done this in a few ways. We've had a site-based professional development day where we worked on academic conversations, close reading, talked about social emotional needs of students, the importance of lowering that affective filter so students can intake information, unpacked LPAC tasks, built lessons to support students' success on those tasks. And in the slide, you can see on the left, there's a poster that we've pushed out to teachers, and the bottom left is kind of a reflection of some of that lesson building. We've used a staff meeting to calibrate teacher use of the LPAC rubric by grade level, and then vertically to give an idea of how these expectations on students build with time. We've been given an opportunity to participate in EL shadowing, which is offered through SCO, and it's a protocol for us to take an objective measure of student engagement in academic language during class time. So we're working with a team on our site in conjunction with our district EL TOSA and a team with Steel Lane. We have some pretty impressive lesson plans that have been developed, and here's just a little snapshot. It's tiny writing. The thing that doesn't really come through in print or on the screen is that there are hot links to this to embedded teacher support resources. This is a multi-page document and it gets pushed out to our staff through a shared Google Drive. So the following slides show some sample data that we use to monitor progress toward our goals and to make adjustments as needed, and really to determine if our efforts are being correctly placed. A little bit of a spoiler alert, all of our boats are rising. Our students are elevating their abilities. So one of the indicators that we use is DIBELS, which is a dynamic indicator of basic phonics skills. And as you can see, our students are making gains across the board, with the most significant gains being in 3rd and 5th grade. We have a net average composite score gain of 25 points, which means that on average our students have increased their skills by 25 points. And this data is from the beginning of this year to the middle of this year, so say August to December. Another metric that we use is Let's Go Learn, and this is our DORA, a comprehensive language arts diagnostic, and these graphs can be kind of hard to read. But in essence, this graph is also showing beginning of year data and middle of year data. So the bars are pairs, where the first bar, it's labeled HF, is showing beginning of year data in high frequency words, and the second bar, HF2, is showing high frequency words at the middle of the year. So from August to December, we're looking at a change in time in our students, and we've got word recognition, phonics, vocabulary, etc. And what I want you to notice is that that red or emergent band is shrinking in each of these two pairs. That blue or proficient band is growing, and that green or above standard band is also growing across the board for our students. Another metric that we're using is the LGL Atom, which is a comprehensive math diagnostic. This graph works exactly like the last graph. Again, the pairs of those columns are beginning of year and middle of year data in different subcategories of a math diagnostic. And we see again that red or emergent band is shrinking, and students are moving into approaching proficient, proficient, and the above proficient category. And so this means that our students are making measurable gains in math and language arts. So the final data point that we have looked at is our LPAC reclassification data. Last year, we reclassified 67 students total in the 10-11 months of school. And this year to date, we have reclassified 72 students, and it's only January. We have 4 or 5 months to go. I'm interested to see how high that number will rise. This is really largely due to the combined and concerted efforts of our family engagement facilitator, our TOSAs, and our teachers who again are here tonight. They are really empowered to work as a team, moving students out of EL status, creating meaningful learning opportunities for our students in order to have students demonstrate their language skills more effectively. So let's bring it all back to coherence, right? Forming that unified goal. So hopefully you see that at our site, our 6 goals are aligned to the district LPAC goals. Our inquiry question and our problem of practice are aligned to our site 6 goals. They drive our theory of action. We're utilizing those key data points to assess the effectiveness of our practices and efforts and see what changes we need to make. Our strongest evidence of impact are those EL reclassification rates and those increasing scores in DIBELS and Let's Go Learn. So this is just a small snapshot in time. We've looked at 5 months, and we all understand here that this work does not have an end point. So we at James Monroe are going to continue to use data to refine our practices to help our students achieve their fullest potential. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. That is a great report. We have Director report.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you, excellent presentation, and that WIN program just sounds fabulous. I want to hear more about that. It's very exciting, and I love the idea of you guys. That's an on-site program that you guys developed,
right? And it was mostly developed by the TOSAs, our teachers. They are really doing the hard work of that.
That's an exciting program, and it'll be interesting to see. How long have you been doing it?
4 months.
Oh, just since we interviewed.
Yeah, just this year.
So it'll be interesting to see if, how that develops and grows, and if that's, a successful program that can be repeated in just other places. That's fantastic. And I also just appreciate the amount of hard work you put into just the stats and the numbers and the graphs. I know sometimes that stuff's just ad nauseum, but I heard once from a mentor of mine that if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And I think that I'm just impressed with just the measurement just in a really short amount of time And I'm excited to see where those numbers go. Great job.
Thank you.
Director Manieri?
Thank you so much for that presentation. I'd also like to commend you for the statistic that reclassification number is amazing. And to go off of what Director McCormick said, or asked, the WIN program, is that available at every grade level, or is that just for a certain grade?
That is available for all grade levels. All of our students participate in that program.
Thank you.
Director Sheffield?
Just wanted to also highlight, thank you for a great presentation. Just the gains that you made in math. I mean, it's incredible just seeing going back, 2 years and where you've come now. It's really, really impressive. It really stood out on that on everyone's slide. So, just wanted to congratulate you on that.
Director Medina?
It's on the math and just the metrics, I'm curious what forms you use to measure those figures. How do you measure it? Is it through testing or some other form?
So we do have quite a lot of tests that we do on our site. The data that I showed you was from Let's Go Learn, which is they have a couple of different diagnostic tests that we can run. We also have the DIBELS test, which is another metric that we use on the site. In addition, we will start using LPAC rubrics to score student sample writing.
Thank you, Catherine. And a lot of work to pack into one presentation. And now you've been on the job for 5 minutes. So I also want to give appreciation to the staff, the entire staff from Monroe, because really I see a focused plan for student achievement and everyone working together and very strategic. Really, truly, I see a cycle of inquiry. So good job. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for your really great report, and it shows that you are really providing some strong, focused leadership and for your teachers, and it shows that your staff there has been working really hard and well for the last couple of years, because those numbers are really impressive. That data is really impressive. So congratulations to everybody, and I see someone back there, so congratulations to all of you. All right, who's next? Viella. I don't have this one.
So good evening. My name is Aida Diaz, and I'm the principal of Albert at Viella. I've been at Viella now this is my 5th year. And so welcome, like I said, to the new board members. I'm excited to be here and get to know you guys a little better. So I'm not going to go through both LCAP goals from the district. We're here to provide the highest quality education for our students in a well-rounded form. And then increase our family wellness as well. And I'm very privileged to work with some amazing staff. Our family engagements here, we have a Natural Family Engagement Center, which is amazing. And you heard Graham Carey earlier, and her amazing job with the students as well. So looking at the San Jose Theory of Action, for us this year we really wanted to engage with E, and that was engaging in a problem solving during a great cycle for growth. And we've been doing this for some time, working through with Innovate Ed, and also engaging and facilitating and developing a sense of purpose, setting a school goal, what our focus will be school-wide. And then leading and guiding focused professional learning, so we can have some PLCs at site, led by teachers and by myself, and what is it that we need for our students. So we've actually gone through one full cycle with each of the grade levels, and we're starting and finishing up our second cycle in pretty, and so you'll see the work that we've done through that. So then our goal has been for a while to increase reading, math, and writing, but not just in those skill sets and language arts, but really going across the curricular course standards. So in science and in math, science and in history as well. And then, of course, we're working with decreasing our absenteeism and that we work a lot with Carrie and obviously our family engagement and our office staff, and really creating a lot of different programs that you'll hear later on tonight again from me on Codes of the Future, but really creating different things to help kids be engaged in school, whether it be sports, whether it be arts, whether it be the garden, different things that they can tap into their interests, so it's not just focused on one thing. And then you'll have the list of our site council members and their roles, and our ELAC and DLAC representatives. This year and last year, we went through kind of a cycle of inquiry with our parents and said, you know, when do you guys want to show up to the ELAC meetings? Do you guys want night meetings? You know, we're really flexible here. Where would you want to have them? And so finally, you know, having really deep conversations with the parents, they felt that having them in the morning as soon as they drop off their students, they would stay. And then I could capture them. Literally with, no, I'm just kidding. They would stay, and so we've had a great turnout for our ELAC meetings, just switching them and going through that cycle with them, saying, just having conversations, and saying, okay, so there's a problem, we want more engagement, how do we fix it, and being open to their suggestions, so that, you know, that's, we have a really strong ELAC as well. And you've seen the slide for the inquiry cycle. And this is super important. I think Superintendent Kimura touched on it. It's not just about doing it once, it's about doing it often and really getting the practice on it and getting the buy-in from the teachers and the parents and the kids understanding what we're working on and that it's for them, that we are here to serve each and every one of them and how we can improve at our sites. So when we started our work with Innovate Ed a couple years ago, our site decided to focus on close reading and really focus on understanding how TK, is she still here? Yeah. So really working from TK on up to our 6th grade and saying, hey, TK can do close reading, kindergarten can do close reading, 1st grade can do close reading and be analytical and have conversations about what they're looking at, whether it be pictures, whether it be, you know, a story that is being read to them. So really looking at that in the DOK levels. And so we have been working for 2 years on really focusing on close reading throughout TK to 6, and we saw a lot of gains in our SBAC scores and our Let's Go Learn scores throughout the grade levels. And so the whole staff, we decided that, you know, it was a good thing for them to also go through the work with Innovate Ed instead of just having a leadership group. So the whole staff did a release day with Innovate Ed and really listened to what are the claims that SBAC, what are we asking the kids to perform at. And looking at the claims, the staff decided that this year we were going to focus on writing. So you'll see a lot of the writing samples that you know, we'll have later on. But not just looking at writing samples, but then what do we do with them, right? How is it that we can collaborate together and use our expertise in the room to really implement a holistic way of teaching writing. So we decided to focus on evidence-based writing. So the impact is that the school-wide K through 6th grade are all working on learning based on evidence-based writing. And what does that look like? And what does that look like in math? And what does it look like in social studies and in science? Because you can pull evidence from everything. And that is a very hard skill. And it's a skill that they will utilize everywhere. I always tease the kids, especially when I'm talking to them about soccer contracts or they want to be basketball professional players. And I'm like, well, you better know how to do close reading and write because you're going to have to pull evidence from your contract so they know how to pay you. So always bring it back with money. So they understand the impact and the importance, but it's a hard skill to teach. And so we need to do a better job of aligning it KA through 6. And our teachers are fabulous at doing that. And so we use the same data points, DORA, DRA, writing samples, DIBELS, annotating and close reading, to look at the different things. But for us, it has to be organic in the sense that it had to start from the beginning. So the slides that you see is TK, Ms. Fink's class. They're reading. That's the TK class. They were doing a whole gingerbread thing, and they were following, and they were pulling evidence. They actually, right after that, they graphed which cookie. I wanted to taste them, but I'm cutting back on my cards. But they got to taste different types of cookies, and then they graphed them, and they were reading and pulling evidence on, you know, from different experiences. And then the other one's a kinder class who, once they're done writing, they can choose to read or play. And a lot of these kids, and this is an impromptu picture, I had just walked by and they were in the little corner reading. And so they're like, Miss Tias, can you come and sit down and read? I'm like, absolutely. So we started with reading. Because if you can't close read, you can't write. You can't pull evidence from text. You can't pull evidence from different sources, whether it be a book or an article from the internet. So some of the pictures that you'll see is writing that the students are doing. You'll see one from TK, and it looks like just scribbles. But maybe Ms. Fink, you want to explain that one here? So, but the kids are writing and talking about what they're seeing, which is amazing. And then on the other one, you see a kindergarten student who's starting to develop sentences about what they're writing and drawing their pictures. And then you'll see some more students reading and the graph. And so you'll see in each picture, I started with TK, and so we're going up, and so this is another kinder class. I know about Halloween, and Halloween you get costumes to get candy, evidence, and I said, where's the evidence? And they said, we brought you the Kit Kats. I go, that's right. I go, now you need to write it. So you get to see some of their samples. And then first grade, and then you get a little bit more complex. You get into second grade where they're using graphic organizers. They have a prompt. So the teacher now, we were at the staff meeting yesterday, so we use our staff meetings as well to talk about our focus. And she was saying how now she's working on releasing them. So she gave them a lot of prompts, a lot of sentence starters for them to pull evidence from books. This is on science, on forces. And now she's trying to get them to do that by themselves. So it's okay, we've been practicing all year. Now can you actually, if I give you something, can you write some complete sentences on it? And then you'll see third and fourth grade represented here. The science notes, like I said, they're using it across 4 curricular subjects. So the third graders were actually, they read different sources. So when I walked in, they had different books at their table, and they were analyzing it, and they were writing their notes from the book. So they had their, where they were going to cite. And then fourth grade, Haley had written a 5-paragraph essay, and I think it was about squirrels. So I handed you guys, so the upper grades are using this bookmarker that I gave you, because this is the first year we're actually calibrating KA through 6, so we're all using the same language, how to cite evidence, because it has to be continuous, right? So hopefully the idea is that by the time those TKs get to Mr. Martin's class in 6th grade, they're going to be experts on race and then increase, right, on how to cite evidence and format. So you'll see on the side, they're using, it just gives them race. And on the other side, the reason I brought you the bookmarks, because you can't see it on the pictures here, it explains to you and it gives you sentence starters for them to cite evidence and explain. And then you have the graphic organizer that the 6th graders are using. And going through this cycle, I've done it once with the teachers, they've gotten a lot of ahas, and this isn't where I give them the information or the answers. It's, okay, let's look at writing samples. And did it come on here? Oh, this slide, I'll go back to the video in a minute. But coming up with a rubric to really analyze the writing and looking at it at Professional Development Day, a PLC, where we can look at, we just give them numbers, we look at them in, different people. Does it have an R? Does it restate the questions? Does it answer the questions? Does it cite evidence? And there was a lot of ahas in the room. They're like, well, wait, I'm teaching them to cite by page number, but that's not really a standard. All they're asking is that they cite a source. So from the article or from the book is enough. So really having those conversations about how we're aligning and having the same conversations throughout each of the grade levels was quite interesting. And so that actually gives a chance to then the teachers talk and say, okay, so we said we were going to do this. This is the evidence we were going to see. Did we see that? And if we didn't, then what else do we need to do to improve the writing and have them articulate and have those conversations? So I'm going to see if this will play. I think I'm going to have to get out of here. did it on a different, because I don't think it played on the, oh, that one might play. No, let's see.
I have a video.
It's playing.
Plays on our-
I usually say red.
She's playing here.
Oh, is she playing there?
It's playing on our agenda.
Oh. So I just thought, Araceli, a sixth grader, could explain how they go through the process of race better than I can.
So click on it.
R stands for like the state question of the answers that it shows at the left page, and we have to write a little a 5-paragraph essay, and we have to do the state question of how asked, like for example, this up here says, how did historical celebrations, practice, and holidays contribute to the development of modern day Christmas? And so I would state the question by saying, the celebration contributed to the development of modern Christmas, to whatever the story was about. And then A stands for answer the question. Does your answer to the question express an idea? And for that you would say that's for like because you're answering the question of if what the story is about. And then C is cite the evidence from the sources. So basically, to write the 5-paragraph essay, you would have to go back into the story and get evidence of to help understand your essay. And then E stands for explain and or elaborate and response by basically saying and your 5-paragraph essay. So that was the last slide, but she was so cute, she's like, can I practice? Because this was impromptu, they were writing, and I said, can you explain it to me? Let's go outside, and she's like, wait, the whole essay? I'm like, just the process that you're going through, because I think it's super important that if they can explain it to you, then they're really understanding it. And so it's been a great process to go through with the staff, because I'm learning with them, we're coming up with solutions of things that, we're working on. And then the coherence part is, we want to make sure that we are providing the best education for all our students, and that we're giving them ample opportunity to DOK 3 and DOK 4 level inquiry questions themselves, and so they can understand how to pull evidence. And not only that, but how is it going to affect in their future? How is all this that they're doing going to affect them? Like Mr. Martin had said about Raquel, she really understands that what she's doing now and the habits that she's building and all the things that they're teaching them, it's going to help them when they get to high school, so then we can have them say that we're going to Dartmouth. And so we're going to continue working on increasing our writing skills, and obviously not forgetting about reading and math. And then our TOA is to continue to facilitate the development of sense of purpose, leading by focused professional learning coming from the teachers and really hearing what they need, and recognizing and implementing quality instruction from TK to 6, target and align resources, which is super important, and utilizing the data to really inform our teaching practices. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you. Questions from the board? Director Fong.
So Principal Diaz, it is so clear that you were very excited about this, and I was impressed by the work that Bella is doing with staff, Bella. Particularly the collaborative work that your teachers are doing, this very specific rubric, and then sitting down together, and everything that we can do to carve out more time for our teachers to sit down together and look at teaching together is going to elevate all the teachers and all the teaching for all the kids. And then secondly, being a high school teacher, I would love to have every kid come in with that kind of skill set, right? And remembering what they learned, and we know they do, but they pretend they don't. But this is really, this is rigor. TK, this is rigor, and it starts there, starts then, all the way through 6th grade, then through middle school, and then into high school. This is how we're gonna get our kids through A to G, exactly what you're doing. So thank you, because your passion and your staff's work together is creating that for kids at Biela. Thank you.
You're welcome, but let me just say, I couldn't do it without the amazing staff, and really, them having the chance to really evaluate what they're doing. And it was, TK and kinder, obviously there's not a lot of writing, sometimes it happens in the beginning when we started the cycle. They came up with the idea of videotaping their kids, doing complete sentences and answering questions, critical thinking questions of the work that they were doing. So I'm very fortunate to work in a very collaborative and passionate group of teachers and staff.
And thank you to you and your staff for really working on depth of knowledge, levels 3 and 4, because that is how we engage our learners, right? And talking about Halloween or whatever's up for them at their age.
Director McCormick and then Director Moninger.
Well, I just want to piggyback on what you said. This is incredible, and this is actually very high level. And I am going to share this with my student athletes at the JC. I'm not joking. I'm not being facetious, because I was a high school English teacher for a long time, and a lot of times you are teaching public speaking and you're teaching literature, and you get to your freshman English class and they expect you to understand this and know how to do this. And I vividly remember sitting down with my professor when I was at the JC, and I was like, this would have gotten me an A in my English class. I don't know, I don't understand what you want. And he's like, this is what he taught me. I mean, I was a freshman in college when I remember this lesson. So I am just like astounded that you are working at this at Biela. So congratulations. Thank you.
Well, that could help me as an English language learner. I came here when I was 6, so really having teachers who believe that I had something to say even if I couldn't write it, that even if I didn't speak English, that I could critically think. And so I think that's super important for the staff who believes that. So thank you.
And just to go off of that, which is what my comment was going to address, is that not only is this a work of collaboration, but a work of clearly teachers and staff who understand and want to work toward equity. And so I want to commend you for that. And I'd also like to say that I had the opportunity to go and visit your site, and it was just amazing. Thank you for that. And the work that Michelle Morales is doing as a family engagement facilitator and in that room is also incredible, incredible work. So thank you.
Director Mackey and then Director Medina.
I just really quickly wanted to say that this process looks almost identical to the AP language.
Well, to just go back, we kept hearing from middle school principals and teachers that they were working on this, and we're like, okay, we hear you. And then I think it was part of the work with Innovate Ed, because they were working with the high schools and middle school, that we can then trickle it down to the elementary school. So
The AP grading rubric.
so my TKs are doing quite well.
Director Medina.
Yeah, I just kind of want to say that I dig it. It's to me, one of the most important things is developing critical thinkers. I think this process is critical to that. I feel like our youth have like such great potential. We just gotta push them, and this is pushing them, getting them questioned, getting them to want evidence, to not just accept things as they are. I think that's for us as a whole society. And so I think just seeing this really just made me feel really good. The other part, just seeing teachers collaborate together to see, okay, well, what are we doing? It's the same, different. I think that's also important, because having everybody kind of be on the same page will help develop our standards. So I think it's also essential so that students aren't at uneven levels as we progress in our society. So I love what you're doing. Can't wait to see how it progresses as it further develops.
Thank you.
Director Sheffield.
Thank you for your presentation. I just had a question about
That's a great question. So, honestly, it's just talking to the families. I know it sounds kind of simple, but really getting to know the families and why. I had the opportunity, our school, we have the grant Keeping Kids in School, so we had it for 3 years. So really working with Keeping Kids in School in that program through the probation department gave me an insight of how to tackle that issue. So that we had a person on site that was paid through this grant for 3 years. This is the first year that we haven't had that person, but one of the things that they taught me through those 3 years is, one, you have to get to know the root of the problem. Because sometimes it's interviewing the families, having those conversations. I do a lot of those conversations. Michelle has those conversations, and coming up with a plan. Because it could be that it's as simple as, hey, you know what, connecting them with somebody who lives close by to them to bring their child to school. But also, like I said, having things that the kids are engaged in and want to be there. You know, I had one of Mr. Martin's kids right before Christmas. He was throwing up in the office, and he did not want to go home because he wanted to work on coding. And you guys will hear about that later. But I'm like, you have to go home. You're throwing up. I don't want you here. And he's crying and telling his mom he's going to go home. But you know, so creating all these different things. We have a sports program. We have the basketball teams for the boys and girls. They have to sign a contract. They're student athletes. They're going to the high school level. We want to make sure that they understand what that means. That student comes first, athletes come second. And that's super important for them to understand. And so having all those connections, and Carrie working with a student engagement person, having those art classes, having those intramurals, the kids rep those games. They're completely involved in everything that the school has to offer them. I always tell them that it's their school. We truly are there to serve them. And so sometimes it takes me walking to their house and picking them up, and that's okay too.
Anything to add, Catherine and Monroe? You guys are.
Well, Director Anderson and I had a little side talk back here and said, well, what else are we going to say? I agree. I think that everyone agrees with everything that was just said here. Really impressive work. You know, this is a really good focus, and the fact that you have it consistently TK to 6. I also really, and I've been to your site, and I love your focus on really looking at kids and their families holistically, and, you know, Michelle's work is great. What you said early in your report about, you know, asking the parents, when does it work for you to be here? And recognizing that it's important to get them engaged and to make it easy. So I appreciate that side of your work as well. Thanks for the good report.
So that being said, I'm going to pitch in that we have our biggest event, which is our 6th grade fiesta next Friday. If you want to have some really good food, and the Aztec dancers will be there, so stop by.
I love a shameless plug.
So while Mrs. Principal Olmsted is queuing up here, I want to say that one of my visits to science was at Biella, and I had the pleasure of walking into, I think you might have taken me to every class, which was great. It was great, because what I saw was alignment in every single classroom I went into around a particular writing prompt and exercise task. And from RSP to TK, who grilled me when I went in the room, to up to the grade levels into different groups, because they happen to come during Walk to Read, right, or that time, or win, or race, whatever you do. I don't even know, what's that time I can't, because I walked into every classroom and it was complete alignment.
No, actually, that wasn't our walk. We do Walk to Read in the morning, and that was more focused on what they need for reading, and you came about language arts and ideas of study, so we try to integrate everything, because it's a lot of things that the teachers have to fit in a day, so we really try to integrate as much as possible. So that was during language arts time.
That's off to the teachers who are back there. Michelle and Carrie.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
You didn't want to do it.
It's a scary place to come back.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Olmsted. I'm the principal of Concord Terrace. Thank you, President Close, Superintendent Kimura, and esteemed board members. It's a pleasure to be here tonight to give you a snapshot of a program that we implemented at Proctor Terrace 3 years ago now. But first we'll go through the LCAP goals, which you are all familiar with. It's getting late in the evening, so I know you know these. The theory of action that we have been working on this year under the direction of Diane and our cabinet. Proctor Terrace's SIPSA goals for this year, similar to my colleagues, is to increase student literacy, math and writing skills, and also to increase our multi-tiered system of support model to support the whole child and encourage parent involvement. This is a listing of our school site council members and their roles. We're very fortunate to have a great team and a lot of parent support, and we have a classified member on the committee as well. Our ELAC and DLAC and DAC officers and representatives, much like my colleague from Biella said, when I first came to Proctor Terrace, I held my first ELAC meeting and sat there by myself with an interpreter and had nobody attend. That was an evening meeting. I tried a morning meeting. Again, I was there by myself. And then with the district's support of having a family engagement facilitator, it made all the difference in the world. With their support, with the support of her, I have been able to grow in ELAC committee, and I have I met with them and said, what time works for you? We started evening, and I found that there were a lot of husbands that were attending, and I learned later is because the moms were walking to school in the evening, and they didn't want to walk alone, of course, and so their husbands were joining them. So I asked them what would be most appropriate for them, and they really preferred a morning time, and so I have gone from 0 to a core group of about 8 to 10 people every meeting, and we have the best time, and it's just so great to have their voice and to really help them realize how much we appreciate them and that they are a very important part of our school. Even though we have a small number of EL students, they're still, they're us, and they're a part of us, and we're all one family and community. This again is the inquiry cycle, which you're all familiar with. Our cycle of inquiry was, how do we ensure that all students are reading for meaning by the end of 3rd grade? How do we ensure that we are meeting all the needs of all of our students, and how are we meeting the needs of our EL students? So as I said, I'm just giving you a snapshot of a program we have developed at Proctor Terrace. 3.5 years ago, we were I was talking to my 2-3 teachers and trying to figure out what we were going to do the next year as far as scheduling. And one of them came up with an idea of, what if we had 5 2-3 combination classes? So instead of one combination class and the rest being single classes, they had this brilliant idea of, what if we're all combination classes and we really look at what students' needs are. So we too have a WIN program called What I Need. So what the teachers do is they collaborate at, all times. They're meeting weekly, daily, and going over student work. Students are sent, they start their day in their homeroom with their regular teacher. They spend about 45 minutes in that class and start their day and work on a writing project. And then they are sent to their English language arts class. They could be remaining with their teacher, or they could be going to a different class, depending on what they need and what a particular teacher is addressing and teaching as far as those needs. They spend their English language arts time there, then they are dismissed to recess, and then they come back after recess and then move to their math WIN group. And then on Fridays, that's 4 days a week, and then on Fridays they are with their regular teacher for the entire day, continuing their work, working on catch-up things, whatever needs to be done. And then on Wednesdays, which is our short day, the teachers were really excited about the possibility of offering some outside of the box kind of activities for our kids. So basically what we have for our 2nd and 3rd graders is a secondary elective wheel. So through the course of the year, all students will spend time in a yoga class, they'll spend time in a coding class, a maker's class, a sewing class, as well as a class that is a poetry and creative art class, which they love. So, as you see, the students are placed in groups based on what they need for their English language arts and math, and then the teachers are constantly looking at evaluations, test scores, student work to determine where kids need to move to continue to improve. And what we have found is this addresses the needs of all of our students, from those that are challenged to those that are high achieving and ready to move on past grade level. So then we also have an EL cycle of inquiry, because we do have a limited number of EL students, and that presents some challenges in how to address their needs. Through our site plan, we were able to hire an instructional assistant that collaborates with our teachers to provide additional support with language and vocabulary development. And 3 years ago, as you heard when Carol Forrest was introduced as our certificated staff person, we started a after-school tutorial for our EL students for 1st through 6th grade. Kindergarten and TK were already meeting with students in a tutorial after school. And so we decided to expand this through 1st through 6th grade. And what we have seen as far as growth, and again, a little kind of tickler to what's to come, 4 years ago, 2015-2016 school year, we only reclassified 5 students. This year, we've reclassified 14. That's almost half of our EL population. So we're very excited about the growth, and I feel it's a result of what's going on in the classrooms on a daily basis, as well as these additional supports we're able to offer. Again, the metrics for growth, we're looking at the same assessments that are throughout the district, the Let's Go Learn, the DRA, the LPAC, common assessments, writing rubrics, and student work, which I think is very, very important. We talk often about the importance of what we see on the student desk on a daily basis. As a result of our 2-3, there's a little bug flying around me. As a result of our 2-3 WIN program, our reading comprehension and math scores have demonstrated consistent growth, as evidenced by our Let's Go Learn. So again, here's one of those graphs. This is at the end, at the bottom, it shows the growth from last year, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year in English language arts in our 2nd grade. So it went from 65.5% in the fall to 86%. This year, what we're looking at, just looking at scores from August to December, they've grown from, in comprehension alone, 71.7% to 81.8%. In 3rd grade, another increase last year from 67.2 to 87.9. This year, from the fall to December, 75% to 76%. I'm going to blame that a little bit on, kind of the things that were going on in the fall. But still, it's showing growth, and I anticipate that we'll see the same rate of growth we saw last year. In math, if you look at the total math scores, which are those first 2 columns, we went from 74.6 in the fall of 17 to 94.8%. And this year so far, again, from the fall to December, we've grown from 77.8 to 80.8%. And in 3rd grade, they went last year from 66.6% to 89.6% proficient and above. And in 3rd grade this year so far, 75.6 in August to 85.7 in December. So we're very pleased with the growth. And I think because we are able to address students' needs at every level and almost making an individualized program for the students, it's really shown a lot of success. Now our challenge is to try to figure out how we can duplicate and expand this throughout the school. Evidence suggests that we are meeting the needs of our EL students and that we've reclassified, it's now 14 when we've gone up one. But as I shared earlier, it's been a tremendous growth from 4 years ago. And here's the coherence piece for our first goal. So increasing the student literacy in math, we're doing that through the cycle of inquiry. How are we making reading meaningful for our 3rd graders and meeting the needs of all of our students? And the theory of action that we're emphasizing is implementation of quality programs, it's very late, like our WIN program and our EL programs that will address student need, and the data we're using to guide instruction. And again, evidence is the data obtained through our benchmark assessments, SBAC scores, student work, and our reclassification rate. Our second goal is how do we ensure that all students feel safe and cared for at school. This picture is when, on the date this year of the anniversary of the fires, and we had therapy dogs on campus, and it was extremely well received, and the little boy in the yellow jacket there is one of the students who lost their homes. This is our support staff that is part of our multi-tiered support. It includes our RSP teacher, counselor, day counselor, our family engagement, our restorative specialist, and this year we've had the privilege of having a TOSA day a week. Additional supports we have, we just started a new system of student check-in and check-out for those needing extra care. We ask the teachers, who are those students that may just need an extra hug in the morning, or at the end of the day need you had a great day, what's something that was really special? So I had been doing a check-in or a check-out with a couple of students, one student in kindergarten and one in first grade that had some little behavior problems. So they bring me their little chart and we go over their happy faces and we make a big celebration about it. But we decided we needed to expand that. There are some kids who need that love and support. And so in our RSP room, it started this week. She's providing that service, so the kids get to sign in a book, and then she has a drawer, and there might be a sticker in the drawer, or there might be a granola bar or something. So every day it's kind of a special treat to just get their day started and let them know that there's somebody they can talk to and that we care. Creative Sonoma, we received a couple of grants for the art and trauma residencies, and our students made varied houses. Music is Care is a program that I'm so excited about, and I've been singing the praises of Elizabeth for this. We have local musicians who come and perform monthly during lunch. We just had it this Tuesday. Sebastian St. John, I think, and he's actually a member of a band here in town, and he has a Facebook page, and the kids were over the moon, and he was absolutely incredible. And any of you who know what it's like to be having multiple days of rainy day lunch in the multi-purpose room with a noise level that's through the roof, you get him in there with his guitar, and it's just a whole different atmosphere, and it's really pleasant and wonderful. We're part of the Best Plus cohort this year. We use the toolbox. Our counselor provides lunch bunch, and our kindergarten teachers have actually started their own lunch bunch with some of the kindergarten students that need a little bit more help with their social skills at lunch. And then, of course, the benefits of the Integrated Wellness Center provided by the district. So the metrics for growth have been a decrease in our suspension rate and increase in the number of restorative circles, thanks to our restorative specialist who's been on campus. Our attendance data, we've been fortunate in that we do not have a big truancy problem, but still it has gone down by 7%, our absenteeism. And then the counselor also did a student needs assessment in primary and upper grades. And again, the coherence, we have the LCAP goal and then our goal of increasing the support for the whole child. How do we ensure that all children are safe and cared for at school? The knowledge and implementation of comprehensive wellness program. And the evidence is through our personnel and community programs. Truancy rates are down, suspension rates are down, and there's an increase of parent presence at our school events. As our PTA representatives stated today, we have have implemented a lot of community events, and such as a potluck and bingo night, and they're being very well attended, and just making it known that Proctor Terrace is your community place to go to share and to be together. And so we are fortunate this year to be celebrating our 70th year at Proctor Terrace. I will keep you in touch as to what events will be taking place. We are going to have a dinner, dance, and auction, and I'm meeting with the coordinators of that next week and seeing how we're going to incorporate our anniversary celebration in that. And also, I should have added a picture of our beautiful garden, which is also going to be celebrating its 30th year. So there's some really terrific things happening at Proctor, and I appreciate this opportunity to share it with you. Do you have any questions?
Well, first, thank you for your report. First, we actually have a blue card, President Lyon.
Hey, I just quickly wanted to let you know, if you didn't already, that I have a son at Proctor Terrace who is in 8th grade, who is in the WIN program, and it is that good. And I think the beauty of it is, combos are horrible, right? There's a super big challenge for teachers because we have the need in our soul to cover the standards, and it's really hard to cover 3rd grade and 2nd grade standards at the same time. So instead of, and the kind of traditional way is, you draw straws or you rotate it around and someone gets stuck with it and that kind of thing. So to have these teachers come up with this idea to kind of spread the work and then turn it into something that is arguably better than straight 3rd grade class. In some ways, it's definitely better than the straight 3rd grade class. It's phenomenal. The reason that it works is because those teachers are super committed to it and they put a ton of extra time into communicating so that they're all on the same page. I don't think it would work if you took a random 5 teachers and said, do this. You have to have that commitment level, but I do think it's pursuing, growing it, and encouraging others to try it in other venues and making it work at their sites or another grade level. So thank you for sharing that with the community.
Thank you. And he's absolutely right. This was born out of the teachers, and they were blowing their phones up that night when they first met with ideas about how they could make this work, and came to me the next day so excited. And that was 3.5 years ago, and they're still as excited about it and as committed today, which I appreciate and just adore.
Just to stay on topic, I'm going to go first this time, because I think I was the only one on the board when this started. And when the word got out that there would be all these combination classes, I can tell you who else's phones were blowing up. And that was all the board members. And it was really like the sky was falling at Proctor Terrace. And to a certain degree, we all bit a little bit, and even some of the most experienced board members said, what do you mean they're going to have all these combination classes? That can't be true, that can't be true, that can't be true. But then, we learned that it was really driven by the teachers. We're talked off the ledge by the superintendent about how this was going to be really good, and they had a real plan for this. And it really has been great. And I really do appreciate, the innovation there and the commitment by the teachers, and also the courage to stand in front of what I assume was a bunch of really unhappy parents.
Yes.
Yes.
We had lots of meetings with parents.
Right.
To
I know.
prepare them for this.
And he said it was going to be good, and it has been great. So
Yes,
really,
we're very pleased.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's been good.
Appreciate it.
Okay. I think Director Sheffield is first, and then we'll go to Director Pong.
I just wanted to say that, and it is apparent in some of these slides, is what an amazing school community Proctor is. And I know that the staff and the families really work hard to make it feel like a community. And not that I'm biased or anything, but, Orion loves it, and just from day one going into, his first day of kindergarten, just how, parents and family came, forward to just introduce themselves. And it's something that happens at this school, and it seems so natural and so even spontaneous. And just love to see now Orion's, in the second, first grade, second year there. And just getting to know more of the family and school community. It really is a great feeling going on campus. And sometimes my wife and I, we fight over who gets to take Orion to school and who gets to start taking the preschoolers, We'll be there next year. So.
Well, thank you. We look forward. We love Orion, and we look forward to the next one as well. Thank you.
Director Pong.
At the risk of repeating, and I'll try not to repeat, thank you, Kathy, for a very fine presentation and the messaging that the Proctor teachers are putting forward, and are putting forward 70 years. It's amazing. The EL reclassification, good job. So I want to talk about differentiation. Sometimes when we hear about school reform and school improvement, comments are made, well, teachers just have to differentiate. that is about the most idiotic statement I've ever heard, because that is very hard to do. It's structurally, it's very strict in terms of structure. So I want to compliment and just thank the teachers who came up with this, and you and the staff, that you're working together and the kids are getting what they need, because this is really differentiation in a way, but it's beyond the structure that hems in teachers, that creates more work for teachers, right? So how are they going to do their best work? They came up with the idea. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So it's about structures. And also, who says that because you're in second grade or because you're in third grade, you're reading at this level or you're writing at this level, right? Developmental thing. So a second grader could be just, you know, off to the races, and the third grader's going to need another year. My own daughter didn't read till the end of, first grade. And it clicked in that, you know, she would have been in a slow class, but anyway, she wasn't. And she's still not. She's 35. Anyway, so I just want to say that you and the teachers addressed structure, and if you've heard me before, you've heard me again forever and ever. How do our structures create barriers for teaching and learning, right? Teaching and learning, both. So thank you so much, and please keep stretching that. And we're creating collaborative time so that teachers have the time to do this kind of stuff. It's not more work, it's different work. Okay, thank you for your leadership.
Director Medina?
Yeah, so I'm still kind of trying to understand kind of how it works, but so it sounds like as a student, you know, the what I need part is depending on what level they're at.
All right. Okay, sorry.
I'll text Adrian and see if he can.
Well, tonight, I guess. But how do I turn it off? Just hold that down.
That means that Joelle's freshman?
Yes. I got it. Awesome.
excited to present Code to the Future and where we are starting and where things are fully. Where we're starting with this amazing program. So we got to turn it over to teaching and learning.
All right, well, thank you, Dr. Guzman. Well, good evening, Superintendent Kimura, President Close, members of the board. Tonight, Kelly Dillon, Director, Aida Diaz, Principal, Silas Martin, teacher, and myself will be providing information on an exciting new program at Biala Elementary. This program fully immerses students in computer science through coding. Students experience coding through a variety of applications, from Legos to robotics to JavaScript. We are partnering with Code to the Future to provide a systematic approach to grades TK through 8 and student high schools to provide a coherent K-12 program. As California recently adopted computer science standards to support student understanding of how the digital world works, our partnership with Code to the Future is very timely. Here is a short video that provides an explanation of Code to the Future and the importance of coding in curriculum.
The power of the internet, the power of technology to improve learning is, I think, as significant as the printing press.
The fact is, we are a technological society now. It's actually now have to catch up to where our kids are.
So schools are supposed to model the world that kids should be prepared for. There should be technology everywhere. So Code to the Future, it was perfect storm. They've developed this K-8 building for high school curriculum for kids to learn computer science with the goal of starting AP computer science as a freshman. We wanted our kids to have that opportunity.
Code to the Future has worked directly with us to connect computer science to our curriculum so that it's not an isolated, separate component of our education.
This allowed us to bring in funding, and this allowed the students to have something new. And that new thing was coding. Code the Future has provided curriculum and training for our teachers and created a progression for kids to move from the small blocky programming all the way to Java, building Lego towers, all the way to building Lego robotics and programming them.
We also know that many jobs in the future will require this ability to code. It's a language, it's a logic.
This particular skill set is one of the best paths to high growth, high demand jobs. We have kids in low income communities that are thinking the best way out of poverty is to become a professional athlete. If they can learn to become a programmer, these skills will help them to get out of poverty and to bring others out of them.
Students want relevance in their coursework. And when we're working with young people, they need exposure to careers they didn't know existed. They need exposure to their own talents and unique talents and their gifts.
We look for partners that have a shared vision and an idea around how they might collaborate together with us on making a huge difference for their kids in the district.
It's important for us that we're able to sit down with the CEO at the table and talk about our vision. Not what the company brings, but what do we want to do together?
You don't see many vendors who are actually embedded in schools and helping not only to run classes, but actually to design a school from the ground up. What does a computer science elementary school look like? Everything from the build out to what the classroom looks like, to posters on the walls, to what teachers do the first day. That's really unique, and it's something we hope will be a model for other districts. It should be a model for other districts and other partnerships.
You see the change of culture, and you see the technology integration, you see kids who are having fun and engaged, and that's really what's evident today.
It's very different from the traditional classroom where the kids in the two back rows are already bored. Instead, you see children engaged and collaborating and creating. It doesn't matter what your ethnic or socioeconomic background is. We are seeing student engagement in a level that we never really saw before.
What I saw of the Code to the Future really unique value is that it's somebody with a focus that can become a real partner.
The goal really is to make learning ubiquitous. It's everywhere. I think that's the true magic of the digital transformation.
So as you can see in the video, coding is for everyone, as it is a new literacy. Students are taught coding and apply their learning in other areas, such as creating a PowerPoint for their mission project or illustrating a storyline. Through coding, we are getting a head start on what is really the learning of the future. Students will not only be using technology, but also understanding how it's created and its impact.
Sorry, I apologize for that. So I think it's a
And this too, the computer science immersion and the partnership with Code of the Future aligns beautifully with that as well. And that is partly why we went to partner with Code of the Future, because we knew that we shared a common mission and a common goal, and that was to ensure that computer immersion was offered to all our students, but especially that we made sure that students in underserved communities had that opportunity. We had the great experience of beginning our work with Code of the Future by visiting some districts in the South Bay, Santa Clara, and San Jose, who were already further along in the process than we were at the time. I have to say that going onto a campus for TK through 6th grade students, you walk into every single classroom, and we got to see what it looked like with 4-year-olds all the way to what it looked like with 12-year-olds. And you got to see that students with Legos were learning the very basics of coding and the language about stacking, and it was, the engagement and excitement was impressive, as was the work that transferred and grew all the way to 6th grade. Aida Diaz, as well as another principal, went with us, and we chose Helen Lehman and Biela to go with our visits because we were looking at a place to begin. And we knew that Comstock and Pioneer had already shown an interest in computer science with some coding at Comstock and some interest in Pioneer in computer science courses. And so we wanted to support a feeder pattern where this would become kind of an experience that a student has from kindergarten through high school. We have Aida here, Principal Biela, who's super excited for what's going to begin on Monday with her school, so I'm going to give her a chance to share a little bit about how she brought it to her staff and how it came to be for her.
So after, so I got the chance to go with a teacher, at the Grace Children's Hotel, to visit the school, and we really get to see hands-on what the kids were doing. And we asked a lot of questions of how this could be implemented. And then we brought it back to the staff and said, is this something that you guys would be interested in implementing? Because the last thing we heard from, and all the other principals and some of the directors, board directors, unless you have buy-in from the staff, this is one more thing that we're gonna have to figure out how to integrate in our curriculum. It's really hard to implement. So it was that, I've always loved computers, and I know that Mr. Martin has a background in computers, so I knew that we had some excitement, but it had to be collective because we wanted to do school-wide. And so we brought it back